For the people who keep losing to Scurv and Blitz, have you tried vitamin C? Freshen buds now.
Fresh and
All right, folks, welcome back to yet another episode of Fresh and Buds. I'm your host, Tommy Fresh, and you are all my buds, and we are joined once again by Max Ferocity. How you doing, my friend? Welcome back to the show. You had a busy weekend.
Oh, man. I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. Just a little bit tired. For anybody who's not understanding, I just came back from overseas, and my body's still 13 hours in the future right now. So I'm starting to wake up. It's morning for me.
Listen, I mean, the future is bright for you, so I'm glad you're in the future right now. Funny enough, this is coming out a week later, so
I am in the future.
Yeah,
I've been a time traveler for a long time, you know.
Yeah,
In case you didn't know.
I'm pretty sure that's what Metrics does. Now, funny enough, the hero that you just cosplayed can time travel with a certain card, I think, in the
it's just a little bit
the armory deck, first second turn taken. But hey, listen, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about that cosplay because it was pretty sick. Not even pretty sick, it was very sick. So we're going to be talking about that, and then I have to talk to you a little bit about Dash IE leaving because, you know, that's your girl.
my heart.
Your
You just gotta twist the knife, huh?
Well, you know, we'll look to the future. You're living in the future. We'll look to it. So,
no, we're gonna make some predictions, and
listen, and we're gonna be 100% correct too.
Absolutely.
I hope. I did Pro Tour predictions, and my top 8. I just picked a person and a hero they were going to be on, and guess what? I only got one of them right, and that was Michael Hamilton, Gravy Bones. That was probably the layup.
Shocking.
Out of all the ones, I guess.
Your low-hanging fruit there.
Yeah. But let's talk about Dash. Inventor extraordinaire has left CC, you know, at this point a couple weeks ago. How are we feeling? My condolences go out to you.
You know, I will admit it had been a while since I had played that deck. Because I had been on Dio for a while, and Dash IE wasn't always in the greatest spot. You know, It's kind of like she went out with a whimper, and I think that's the part that makes me sad. It didn't feel like she went out with a bang. But, you know, we had time to kind of pre-mourn or know it was coming. It still didn't make it any easier. It's always like that moment of, I know the sadness is coming. But still, when it happened that day, I was like, damn it, you guys, you know, put the deck down, don't do it. But, you know, I do miss her, but it just means there's more opportunity in the future, you know, more potentially, hopefully, dashes to come down the line. You know, I think they've set the precedent that they want to keep heroes, you know, in rotation, hopefully into perpetuity at some point. You know, it might take us a while to come back around to a hero, but
yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, they were not quick to jump to a second version of Dash, but there's no doubt that we're going to get a third version. With that being said, what would you like to see in a third version of Dash? Because Inventor Extraordinaire was very, you know, kind of in her lifespan had a different kind of build, it seemed like, every season. And then towards the end, you know, without high octane and stuff like that, it just became, all right, well, it's going to be Slab Dash, or else why aren't you playing Dio, right? And that was it. And Dio,
which for me, Slab isn't my favorite.
that's not for everybody. I know people love it, but you know, and that's how she LL'd. So you know, it's very fitting. But Dio is very, in my opinion, compared to IE, very one-dimensional. You can do really powerful things very fast, and that is what she's good at. What would you like to see in the third iteration?
You know, I've always wanted to get back to that mid-range kind of feel of play of Dash. You know, that back and forth play, that tempo. I'd love to see it. I know it's really hard to balance mid-range into this game because it feels like we're always swinging the pendulum one side to another. That, you know, and yes, that doesn't mean mid-range can't exist or doesn't exist. There are decks that do it. There are times for it. When the meta shifts, it can have its opportunity. I'd love to find a way to see if we can get back to that building the board state, building up. Maybe not like I don't want to get to like a slab dash where we're just blocking up and building out, you know. But I think Dash has always had one of the widest range of build opportunities, at least the original Dash. And I'd like to see a version of that hero that goes back to that eventually, where, you know, when you're sitting down across from this hero, you know, you don't know going in. I mean, we don't always know, but sometimes you know, like what you're sitting across from roughly. You sit down, you're like, you know, Reiner's going to smash. But with Dash, you kept him guessing. They're like, which build is this? Oh, great. I have to play guessing games with my sideboard. And I liked that because she wasn't always, you know, the powerful meta hero, but she did make your opponent have to stop and pause and think, like, what am I sitting across from? And you could surprise them with that. Like, I know how many times I sat down early on when Hanabi first came out and like people weren't expecting it because it wasn't in the meta at the time, and then it would shock them. They would be teching for something else. So I'd like to see us get back to that kind of mid-range gunslinger mode. I'd really enjoy that, but we'll have to see. Like Dash, it's cool following her life cycle because she's one of the younger heroes when you think of like age progression in lore, you know, like she starts out pretty young, you know, like teenage kid, and then moves upward. I mean, I want to see some CEO Dash where she's using her money to beat you. Just kidding. You know, just like throw cash. Gold was the payoff, wasn't it, Brian?
Oh, a gold Dash. Holy smokes. I mean, I guess that's
my God. Just wealthy Dash, just like the Bruce Wayne of Dashes. For expensive gadgets.
Oh man, I mean, if you say Bruce Wayne now, like I'm really cooking. I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. But that would be interesting. I don't know if we could ever get like that slab dash again, since Plasma Pistol definitely won't be coming back, right? So unless they kind of print like a pseudo replacement of that, I don't know. But yeah, I would love to see something really interesting. I like what you're saying about like the questions that you present to your opponent before you even start playing is one of the things that like her and like early iterations of like even Katsu at one point, like you didn't know if it was going to be like turtle Katsu or just like straight up combo, which is like newer players of the game are like, what are you talking about? Katsu's not even good. No, it used to be like really, really good.
My sweet summer children, there was a time when Katsu was a threat. You know, when you sat down, you're like, I'm about to get ghost waved into the next century.
And honestly, I mean, well, he might be coming back with some of those new Ira cards, but it seems like Ira's eating pretty well. But yeah, it would be pretty neat. Now, with her gone, she's the first mech to leave CC. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4 mechs in Classic
dirtling around out there.
Dirtling around, trying to hit people with wrenches, making cogs. What's the state of mech? What are you enjoying? I mean,
you know, like at this point I'm still sticking to Dio, but I do want to enjoy other mechs. I just feel like they're not at least right now positioned well. Like, I mean, we've talked about, like, my hope was that well, maybe it wouldn't work, you know, with this going out, like Dio's still a threat. We're not going to get High Octane back. They're not giving us our toys back. We're still in timeout, you know, so I feel like that's still going to continue hurting Max, you know. Max is still kind of stuck. I really want to see Teklo continue or get to the point and get some more toys to where I can more confidently play him. I actually have always really, really wanted to lean into Tekla and do like all the build out of kind of that, you know, that whole Iron Man armor thing going on. You know, I'm just like patching up my armor. I'm making this ultimate suit. I love him. Obviously, I cosplayed him once. You know, I really want to get to that. So I'd really like to see him get some more tech for that. But ultimately, I think the state right now is just Dio's still doing, you know, what Dio does, doing pretty decent, you know, but the rest of Mech, the state of it is just kitchen table play, I think, at this point. I can't say that there's people that have brought it to, you know, some great things and done some amazing things as specialists. I'm not going to discount that, but it's not S tier right now. Let's just say that.
Yeah. It's not really what you're expecting to run into. I mean, you know,
right.
Unfortunately, every once in a while you run into a Teklo and you're like, come on, what are you doing? Yeah. Stop
I didn't tech for this. Teklo.
Teklo's in a weird spot because, like, what do you give him that doesn't make him just more of like that tank thing, you know?
Right, which is bust him,
which is like a cool version of Mech, but you know, I always wanted to see more of the scrap stuff kind of come into play with him. But Max, you know, Max got some cool stuff.
Poor Max.
Poor Max. I think the wrench stuff is awesome.
I do too. I think he's fun. I bought the armory deck. I was working on a costume for him and had to hang it up. You know, I ended up getting sick when I was working on it, so it didn't come to Vegas. But eventually, I'll finish it. So.
Yeah, listen, I would love to see that one. And then Puffin. Puffin's our new girl. And
yes, we can't forget about Puffin. I can't believe I didn't even mention Puffin. Poor Puffin.
You know, she's half pirate,
New kid on
half
the block.
mech,
Yeah,
but
half pirate. Yeah, she's fun. You know, she's just like a fun deck, and I don't know that I've explored her enough. I've been really busy ever since she came out, and I didn't really get a chance outside of Limited to really lean into her and her build. But every time I get a chance to play High Seas Limited, I'm forcing the hell out of Puffin. So.
yeah, she's the first like non-boost. I mean, obviously, I think people are still playing boost with her, but like, you know, from a concept wise, like you don't really want to boost. You don't like want to get too many things in the banish zone or whatever. But you got these cogs. There's something there. There's some really good cards that she has, but she much like Marlin, and this is what me and DM Armada talked about last week. They're just missing a little bit, and that's why Gravy Bones is just doing what he's doing.
He's just sailing off on his big screw off ship there, you know? But he's there to decimate you with his blues.
Well, blues are good. Who would have thought? But you know,
after I bet Brutes knew that. I bet Guardians knew that.
Yeah. Now, I do want to talk about Pleiades and your journey, but I'd be remiss not to mention your High Seas cosplay. If you want to, touch on that a little bit, your experience doing it, because it was another banger by you. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting. It was not so like most cosplays that come with spoilers. There's not a lot of lead time on those. Like we find out, and just to preface, stepping back for anybody listening to this that thinks that LSS is pressuring anybody to make a costume. They don't. When they hand us cosplayers a spoiler, they even sometimes will say like, "You guys, I know you're getting this like really close. We do not expect you to make anything," but it's like a pride thing for us. It's a challenge thing. So I know like Carolina and I are always like, when we get our spoilers, like, "Are you making a costume?" Heck yeah. "Are you making a costume?" Of course, and we make it work. We make it happen to whatever extent we can. So like, I think I had about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks to work on that. And I work a very full-time job. So, it's nights and weekends, and it's just kind of burning the midnight oil. Mm-hmm. And so like at the time I had been starting to make a, what do you call it? And my words are escaping me because I'm still 13 hours ahead, apparently. They haven't caught up yet.
You're working redhead. On something else?
The very wonderful card with the redhead on it. Oh my God, I can't think of this. Shelter from the storm. Yes. No, Dash. Yeah, absolutely. I was working Dash. Shelter from the Storm. God, how could I forget that card? Like the best value card out of that set. Yeah. But Shelter from the Storm, I was working on that cosplay because I love that art. It's just freaking gorgeous. And I decided, like, I don't care what spoiler I get. If there's no costume in it, I'm going to use this as my pirate costume. And when I received the card, it was a weapon. It was Blunderbuss. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't have a costume I could make. And I'm like, are they trying to challenge me to just come up with like shit here? Come on. And so like I looked at that weapon. I was like, thanks a lot, guys. Give me the most complex weapon, like visually. Yeah. I whipped up a model of that, like a 3D model of that in about I think it took me about 2 days. To come up with that model. And I'm not a very experienced 3D modeler. I really am not. And that was like a really big challenge for me. And then I think it took me almost a week to print all the little pieces and everything for it, and like a couple of days to finish it out. But I also, for the first time, scheduled like a professional photo shoot with like a actual cosplay photographer. So I had to finish it even sooner to get those done. We traveled all the way up to Wisconsin. It was like a 4-hour round trip for me, and we went to the lake shore, and it looked like an actual tropical ocean by the time we were done. My friend loaned me an old trunk from her family that's 100 years old and sits in the corner with blankets. And we dragged that down this valley to the beach, and it was a lot of effort. It was 40-something degrees that day. It was freezing, but it was so fun to do it. And the Blunderbuss, I love it. It's sitting downstairs. Unfortunately, I let people convince me to take it to Vegas. They're like, bring it, we want to see it. And I was like, okay, fine, if my fans insist. Just kidding. But I did, and unfortunately got broken at several spots. Geez. It's just so delicate. It wasn't made for that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to fix it and put it like on the shelf. I keep saying I'm gonna make a mech gun rack one of these days because it's the most Midwest cosplayer thing to do, you know. So,
Yeah. Nice.
um,
And
you
then
know,
maybe a nice
I think it
butcher
was Charmer that
station.
suggested that, like,
Yeah,
he said, get a gun safe. He's like, make a mech themed gun safe. I'm like, that is so Midwest.
that does sound like Charmer. We'll have to see if he's around at the end
Yeah.
of the episode to talk to
Yeah,
him. But
yeah. I keep hearing he's gonna join us. And then
yeah, we'll
this
see.
guy
We'll
never
see.
shows.
I think he's just texted me, so I don't know.
Oh, he's just running late again.
Yeah,
Huh?
he might be running late. So
Yeah.
no, that's awesome. It looked great, as does everything you do. And I implore anybody who didn't catch it to check out Max's socials and check it out as well. Now, before we get to Pleiades, gotta talk a little bit about fresh faves of High Seas. I think I know the answers to the first one, but who was your favorite hero from High Seas?
I mean, okay, playability or like what I like to play is actually it's Puffin, but I will say this, like art wise and like just coolness factor of new class type, it was gravy.
Okay,
I was
yeah.
very excited to have a like necro pirate. I just thought that was the coolest. So I actually have built like a gravy deck as well. Like I leaned into both, and this was the first time we bought this much of any set because my husband wanted to play Marlin. So like we actually like just value played and bought cases of the stuff because we wanted everything. Normally we're a singles crew in this household, but we're like, nah,
boy.
we're inviting the whole ship aboard here. So.
Well, I'm sorry to hear your husband wanted to play Marlin because she's got a little bit more work to do, I think, but she'll get there.
Yeah.
I think, a new cannon would be cool. I think Hammerhead's
I'm sure we'll get one eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, eventually. Now, what's your favorite weapon from the set?
So, in limited blunderbuss, outside of limited, I think Spitfire has, some more interesting build opportunities there. But blunderbuss is the cooler looking one. I mean, it's got glowing stuff on it. It's got little turny cogs. I mean, you can't go wrong, with putting all the crazy crap on your stuff. It looks like somebody like, did a scrapbooking page of like a gun. So when I was making it, I was like, I swear to God, I think the art crew is sitting here going, now we know Max is going to cosplay with this. So make sure to put as much stupid shit on here as possible so that, she has to work really, really hard and paint with lots of different colors. Okay, cool. Yeah.
My wife does this thing called junk journaling, which is kind of like scrapbooking, except it's just junk. So that's what that kind of sounds like to me.
It's the junk journal of weapons. Amazing. I love it.
Great answer. What's your favorite equipment from the set?
I mean, it's going to have to be the mech arms, probably, just because it's going to go, into my regular collection. But you know what? For funniest name, I like Old Knocker.
Yeah, that one's pretty wild.
That's every time I pick that up, I'm like a 5-year-old. I'm like laughing.
I think that's the first time someone's answered that one. And actually, the mech arms I think is the first time because the mech.
Well, I have to be different. Everybody's gonna talk about dead threads. They're all gonna be like sexy necro lady. Great value.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, a mech card, a mech equipment is I think one of the most answered for High Seas, and that was the unicycle.
The unicycle. I always get a kick out of it. I mean, that's a draft pick right there for me. Since
it's very good.
Playing them. But no, it's like for like taking that forward and being able to add it to my collection. Anytime we can get some additional slots for mech, I'm happy. But Dead Threads is like the obvious choice probably amongst a couple others. But yeah, I'm gonna pick the mech thing. I'm gonna stay on brand for this.
Stay on brand.
I also think the art's cute. She looks so happy. She's so happy. She's like, I'm just a happy little inventor with my new arms. I'm like, I feel you, sis. I feel you.
Oh yeah, the amount of levity that Puffin's card pull brought to that set was just awesome.
It's adorable.
Now, what's your favorite card to throw into your deck from High Seas?
Like are you talking about like if I'm playing a High Seas deck or if I'm talking
any deck that you're playing? I mean, I'm assuming it's a mech deck, so it's probably a mech card from High Seas.
Honestly, I think overall, like it's gonna be any one of the giant ships. It's gonna be any one of like the absolutely devastating like +8 attack, ships. I'm trying to remember the names of them right now because I can't remember them off the bat. But like if I'm playing like Limit or something, like I'm like, give me all them barks,
Yeah.
As if I'm going shopping in the root beer aisle. But like Give No Quarter is like incredible. Like it's a great card.
Barks has bite. Isn't that the
Marks has bite. It does. I literally thought of that. I think I said that at one point. I was like, yeah. I've been making root beer jokes like the whole time with that thing. But honestly, it's like any of the ships because we're playing pirate. We're playing pirate. We want to sail the seas. You know, we could talk about all these other like big meta cards, etc. But it's like if I can fill my deck with ships, like Jolly Bludger just cracks me up. That name and like that picture looks like something out of One Piece. I'm like, I love it.
It really does. And
I think that's probably actually, you know what? I'm gonna change my answer. I like Jolly Bludger. I think
Jolly
I like that a
Bludger
lot.
is awesome.
It's such a solid card, and also the art and the name. So yeah,
Awesome. Now
done, settled.
I'm gonna challenge you right now, Max. Normally, I'd ask class and talent. What would you be? And I've asked you that before.
You know that.
Now it is what class would you pair with being a pirate for yourself? You can't answer mech.
It's not fair because when I said you guys need to create a mech that's, you know, like a pirate because it makes so much sense, and they would be an artillerist. I keep calling myself the chief artillerist of the set, like making all sorts of cool stuff. But like, okay, fine. I guess I'll pick something else. But I would say like it would have been that mainly because I don't think we created that. We didn't create like a chief artillerist, you know, like we didn't create somebody that's making like a we make cog board states, but like making a weapon or something. And I would have liked to have seen that. Like we build a cannon.
Oh yeah. Wow, that would
Can
be
I
sweet.
still answer that? Like I know that's the combo. I don't know. I want to be able to like build my own, like build your own cannon, like build a bear, except I show up and you know,
Okay, well I'll let you answer this.
what if I build my own ship?
That's I mean
Like, oh my god, you like take a ship and you add cannons and stuff. Like, could you imagine that? Like creating
that would be
like a
really
board
sweet.
state of a ship.
Holy smokes. And then it's got then you kind of like you pick and choose your like trice per turn like ability and stuff like that because obviously all these ships have those abilities.
Or I will give you another one. I'll give you another one, okay?
Okay.
And it would maybe it would have the pirate class, but I was surprised we didn't have in High Seas like a Guardian of the Seas.
Oh, yeah,
Like a Poseidon type thing would have been super cool, Aquaman style, whatever, you know. I thought, but maybe that's for later when we go find Triple Donnie and like find like what their version of like Atlantis is under the sea, you know, like maybe that's what's coming. But like I honestly thought that's what we were gonna get at some point in here, and we did not. So
I thought the same that we were at least gonna get our version of Merfolk for Flesh and Blood.
They allude to it, and I think we're going to get it like that, like race of creatures, etc. But so yeah, I'm giving you a 2 for here. Like I would have liked to have seen like that Guardian of the Seas, you know, but also like I still want to build my own ship. I just want to build my own ship, and nobody's letting me do it. And you know,
it could be
LSS,
the
if anybody's
first talent for mech, artillerist, mechanologist.
That's what I want. Yeah. You know, like something like that.
Very cool. Yeah, instead of talents, mechs just get jobs.
We just get jobs. I mean, we've kind of talked about this. I don't know that. I mean, Mech technically does have, you know, a talent in that there's Shadow because of Tekla Vossen, the demi hero. But I don't think mechs really need talents because mechs are all about like being that self-made individual, and like they have jobs, they have tasks, they have things they want to do and accomplish. But do they really come in with an innate talent? I don't know. Like.
It's funny. It's funny to think they have jobs and like, you know, one's
they're
just
all sad like us.
they go to Reinar to scare him, like, you know, you can't intimidate me, and then they show him a job application. He's like, oh no.
They hand him a tie and he's like, no.
I'm pretty sure Dex has worn a tie with Reinar. No, I don't think so. We have to get him on.
But now I want to see it. We'll have to get him to do it. Just business Reinar. He shows up with like torn off pants, looking like the Hulk with like a little business case.
Oh man, that would be awesome. Now, GOAT set. What's the greatest set of all time as it stands right now, in your humble opinion, by whichever metric you would like to say?
So my personal favorite for metric of all time, and this is going to surprise people because there's no mech in this set, is Outsiders.
Hell yeah.
I still think it's my favorite set of all time, just also from the limited standpoint, the drafting standpoint. It was my favorite set to draft. I think it just offered a ton. And I don't feel like we got enough time with it.
Yeah, I agree. I
also like the thematics too, just like the underground of it. Like it's just too cool. Like I liked how they wove the stories. I still like one of my favorite sets.
Well, listen, I mean, like pits are right underneath metrics. We lost
it's close enough.
Dash.ie. We lost Azalea. When they return, there's got to be some kind of like pits versus metrics thing. I think that would be.
Oh, like that's like their story's culminating in it. If you follow the lore, it's all like this whole class warfare. You know, the man's keeping us down. I want to see actually. You know what? That's why I want to see in Dash's third iteration. No CEO Dash. let Teklo handle that, be the big evil bad guy. I want her to be like, I escaped to the underground. I help lead the resistance type Dash, like dark. I want a dark cyberpunk Dash. Give me that.
Very, very cool. I'm sure we'll get something like that. She's such a beloved character.
LSS, I hope you're listening, Brian. Give me cyberpunk Dash.
Now, let's talk about a new hero that I assume will also be well beloved as well. Pleiades, who you just cosplayed, an official cosplay, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I get to say I am Pleiades, just like I did with Dio. I am Dio, but I'm also Pleiades on the side, by day, by night.
You're going to have like a whole just like Batcave of suits. Of like,
who says I don't? Why do you think the background's up? People got to pay to see that.
Yeah.
It's like a museum here.
That's true. Join the Patreon to see the Batcave.
Oh my God.
I do have to shout out Dead Summer Art because in their question for the listener questions, they asked a lot of these questions, so I want to just shout them out because I was going to ask them anyway. But from the beginning, how long did you know that you were going to be doing this cosplay at Singapore?
So just to give the full context and background, I was asked to guest at Singapore. It was about the time my High C spoiler came out, and I was not asked to do a character. That's not something they do with every guest. It's not something that's the norm. It's only been done with Dio and then with Carolina with Marlon. Mm-hmm. And it's like a one-off thing. It's planned ahead. The guest is secondary, the guest part. With this, I was asked to come out, and then I noticed in my itinerary, I said, hey, I want an itinerary this time. I want to know what I'm doing all weekend. I don't want to just wander around. I want to be doing some really impactful work with like the community and like really giving people a good time. Like, so what do you want me to do while you're there? Here's some suggestions I have. What are your suggestions? And when they came back, the person I was working with said, well, we'd like you to be in the keynote was one of the items. And I said, well, if you want me to be in the keynote, what do you want me to do or wear? Because you're telling me just to bring like an old outfit, have a good time. You're just trying to give me a thank you. Because a lot of times these guest spots are like thanking you for something. It's more so, it's less work and more an honorary, because it's not necessarily like a paid position or something. It's more of a gift being brought out there to be a part of something. So they came back and said, well, we don't think there's enough time for you to make something, like you really want to try and do that. And I said, well, I got about, if you can get to me in the next week or so, that'll give me like 4 weeks, which is not a lot of time at all. These things are usually like giving you like 6 to 8 weeks out minimum. And they're like, okay, well, let's see. Well, then I was at Vegas thinking, oh, they're not going to do anything. Maybe there wasn't a character that fit me. Maybe the set's too far out, this sort of thing. And Trevor from LSS approached me and said on like the last day, can we chat? I have something to show you. It's art. I won't be able to give you the art right now, but I can give you a quick look on my phone and you can tell me whether or not you want to do it, because I'm not sure this character is going to be like, I don't know if you're going to want to do it. I don't know. It's not your usual, it's not your usual look, and also like, I think the implication too is she's not like scantily clad, but she doesn't, she's a little more sexy than what I normally do. She's cool, sexy. And I was like, yeah, no, I'll take a look. So he showed me and I was like, oh, F yes, I'm all in, 100%. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm in. So it took about a week for them to like finalize all the NDA and everything for me to actually get like copies of her. And just so that everybody knows, giving you a peek behind the curtain again, we don't get to see what these heroes or cards do. Like when we get a preview that's ahead for art, like they don't even tell us the name. I didn't know what her name was, what her class was. Now, I found out her name within that night because I texted a friend a bit higher up in the company. And I said, hey, very cool. I'm very excited to work with you at the keynote. Would you be willing to tell me the name of this character? You don't have to, He was like, yeah, I'll tell you, but you got to keep it secret, and tells me the name. And I was like, oh, that's freaking sick. But I literally did not know the class of this character or what she did until everybody else did. When she was previewed. I knew nothing beyond the art and her name. And so basically it took me, I also arranged like a special photo shoot. So I think I had only 3 weeks from the time I got the art to the time I had to sit down and do my photo shoot to make that costume. And it took about a week just to get materials, like order, sit down, plan, figure out what the hell I need, get it out and get it back in. So I probably made that in about 2 weeks.
Holy moly. On top of
I know it's like a long-winded.
No, on top of a regular full-time job, which is, very, it's
not even related. Like I work in like accounting and banking. So it's like 50, 60 hours a week between work and commute, like to and from the city. So it's like I'm coming home and I'm working like the midnight oil to make these things.
Okay, so you got the art of Pleiades, right? And you start doing the planning, all this stuff. Obviously very cool. And then you found out the name from a super secret person.
Some intern told me that.
Some intern. Yeah.
Some intern.
And guess
I believe
what?
he was called Map Boy or something. Was his nickname around there.
And that intern, as of 12:01, after this comes out, is fired. No, but you take a look. You don't know. You know the name, but you don't know the class, what she does, anything like that, right?
Right.
You know what she looks like and what you got to do. Did you have some like guesses? Like what were you thinking? You were like,
So I was totally wrong because I told this person in my message to them, I said, by the way, she looks great. Awesome. So cool. You guys are great. I said, but by the way, if that is not an axe and she is not a warrior, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. And I put my foot in my mouth because she was not. I thought that was like my bet. And I said that to this person. But they, of course, I'm sure took it in stride. But like everybody kept referring to it as an axe. I said like the play on words was perfect, that it's got to be an axe. But then the more I saw art from it, because they gave me more than just her art, they gave me her weapon art and other things too. And the more I looked at it, in some of the pictures, it looks like it's got a sharp edge. But in like the final pictures and such, like it has like a clearly blunt edge and looks like a hammer.
Got it.
So like that's when I started to think, I wonder, like I still have this pet theory, and maybe somebody from LSS is watching this like, shut up, you know nothing. But I have this pet theory that she actually may have started out in concept as like a warrior with an axe, where it was sharp edged, just because of some of the art looking like that. But maybe it was just difference in direction in those pieces. But if you look at some of the pieces they've shown thus far, look at a couple of them. It looks sharp in some sections, like her young art.
Yeah, I mean, beyond that, she's playing like an axe. It's like
an axe, like literally. So yeah, I wondered if it was like she started off as that in concept, because the art probably has to happen a lot further out than some things, So like maybe I don't know. I can't say, or maybe it's just me reading into things that I want to see, because I'm also a warrior player. I don't play Guardian. I play warrior in addition to Mech quite a bit. So I was very excited. I was like, oh, we're getting a new warrior, and she's hot and she's awesome. And then I was like, oh, Guardian. But I'm gonna give her a try. I'm definitely gonna give her like a go, pick up an armory deck, because obviously I gotta play my hero.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Right?
I mean,
she's super cool.
Listen, the warrior thing, in theory, wouldn't have been that far off anyway, because we're returning to the deathmatch arena. Last time we were there, warrior was a
warriors.
class.
That's why I was shocked. Now they did tell me when they showed me at Vegas, I said, can you tell me what land this character is from? Because it helps me to immerse myself when I'm making things and make little like things from it. I thought she's got to be like Metrics or something, right? Like she looks too modern. Like all the art I saw did not have a deathmatch feel. It was just her on stage. So I was like, oh, like clearly this is Metrics, because it's the only modern area of this, stuff. And that's when the person told me, they said, no, it's kind of related to the deathmatch arena. And they're like, shh. And I'm like, oh, thinking kind of related. So I thought this set was Battle of the Bands or something, or like had something to do with music. And so I ended up getting a photographer and being like, let's rent out a nightclub during the day with like all this like cool rock and roll type memorabilia and stuff. So we did the shoot based on that. And literally like the day before, we had found out she's a wrestler, like the deathmatch. And we were like, F, like.
I mean,
but we went with it, and like the photos came out amazing. Shout out to my photographer, Martin. Oh, my breadsticks is what he goes by. His like socials. He's actually a Fab player that approached me
awesome.
Back in December at a match that basically said like, hey, I'm in the local area and I do a lot of cosplay photography outside of Fab, and I would love to shoot you. So not like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm tired of your shit.
Stop beating me with Dash.io.
But it's been great. It's been awesome ever since then. So he's cool. I want to give him a shout out.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it looks great. I mean, the shoot is awesome for anybody. Much like the blunderbuss, should definitely check it out. It was just so cool. Now, what did you start with, like part as like the cosplay itself? Like, what was the first thing you're like, all right, I know I have to work on this first, and then I can work on the rest of it?
So it was actually the armor, which is crazy because I should have started with the weapon first, and I knew that because it takes so much time to print, so much time to finish. But the reason I started with the armor was I wanted to get it like really well tooled, really high quality, well fitted. And I know that can take some time. There's dry time and everything. There's a lot of steps basically. That's all leather. So that entire outfit, just to preface, is almost 100% leather, besides like my stockings, and my arm warmers. So it's all, a garment leather or full on tooled heavy leather for the armor pieces. So because there's so many steps to finishing that, soaking it, molding it, and doing the hand carvings, all that intricate work, I started with that first. And then I moved on to the weapon. It pretty much was all done at the same time. I was just moving like as fast as I could because I only had like 2 weeks. But yeah, the weapon was like, for some reason in my soul, I don't know how to tell you I know this, that maybe it's my future self, because I'm always like saying I live in the future, knew that I would be okay with that weapon. I had some sort of weird sense of calm faith, even though it's the most complex prop I've ever made. And I'm a novice at modeling, that I was like, I can do this. I know I can do this. It's going to be okay. And so I did that weapon in like a week and some change.
I wonder, because it is like, I don't know, actually, truly comparatively, but like in look, I'm looking at it right now on my phone, but like in look compared to like the blunderbuss, it's bigger, like, right?
Yeah, it's pretty large.
Yeah,
like it was in 16 pieces in total, I think, when I printed it off to like get that all together.
So
it's pretty large.
Is that like the inherent size something that kind of told you it's like, okay, because it's a little bit bigger, I feel like it's less, small pieces, I guess.
It really doesn't matter all that much for like the purpose of like designing or putting it together. Size is relative because you resize in whatever you're doing. But like, I'm always very picky about how I do my weapons. Like, I want them to be exact if I can to the card or like the props. And so I actually model based off the card, like directly. Like I pull it up in my software and I'm like overlaying it. So that thing is like literally the exact dimensions of the weapon card. There is no like change in like, dimension, how it looks, etc. So if you pull up the weapon card, you were to hold it up kind of in a distance, it should match up, line up to like the millimeter. And so I also compared to I get very picky like that. Yeah. So yeah, it's just harder in that you have to plan for the time. And I have 2 machines that I run off of right now. My third I gave away recently. So I'm able to run 2 machines at once, but like all it takes is one of them to go down. Anybody who's a 3D printer knows that like they smell fear, just like a sewist knows their machine knows when you're afraid. And that will be the time it just decides to go full spaghetti on you on like a 20-hour piece or something.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I've never used one, but I was at a garage sale where some kid was just running his, and just selling stuff. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. I was asking him all these questions. And then I started thinking about these larger pieces. And I'm like, holy smokes, I can't even imagine now.
Oh, yeah. You have to slice them out. And then even like the piece of that, some of them were upwards of like 14 hours to print.
Oh my God. So the weapon was not as challenging as you thought it might be. You knew you could do it. You did it. Was it still the most difficult piece of this cosplay, or were there other spots that were a little bit more difficult?
So I would say like objectively it's the most difficult piece, just because there's so much finishing. Like when you're putting together in that many pieces, you're trying to hide seams. You're trying to make it look like one solid metal piece. And it also has to be able to break down and go on luggage. That's way too big to fit even in my largest case. So I have to, like when I'm doing a piece, I always have to reverse engineer it in my mind before I even design it, so that I know what pops apart, where do the magnets go, how am I going to have it like be able to disassemble and assemble in like 5 to 10 minutes on site. Plus I was using like real guitar strings, so they have to be able to like be wrapped and do all this stuff. So, objectively that's the hardest. But the hardest for me actually is I don't do a lot of sewing or a lot of garment work in most of my cosplays. It's something that I used to do a lot in the past. Like in high school and college, I used to love altering clothes, making my own things, but it's been a very long time. And leather garment sewing is like even more like pain in the butt,
Yeah.
So that was like actually harder for me, was like garment sewing, because I knew how close it had to fit, how small it was. Like, even though it's less fabric, it's got to fit perfectly. There's a lot of intimidation factor. She's a beautiful, skinny young woman. And I will just tell the listeners, I'm like 39. I'm not that tiny. So like having to make something flattering to my body, feel confident to get on stage in front of like 1,000 people, God knows how many people on the live stream. That was like the intimidating factor for me. It was like getting that costume fitted and feeling good about myself in it.
Well, I think you nailed it, because, I don't think even for a moment watching that keynote, I was like, I mean, you just look so comfortable up there, and I think you did such a great job. And
Well, that's good because I had food poisoning and was throwing up 5 minutes before going on stage. So.
Holy smokes! Well,
and then 5 minutes after, I'm not even joking, I was like sweating bullets.
Oh
like,
my
oh my God, I cannot throw up or pass out on the stage and ruin like James's moment, because that would just be like I would just die. I would just go back and just collapse.
Listen, I mean, like, I didn't know that. I mean, it's really
nobody knew that. I told them afterwards, and like, you looked great. They're like, maybe a little shiny, like sweaty. They're like, I just thought that was because you're a rock star, you know.
True. I mean, yeah, they thought
like,
you
no,
like
I was just dying.
spritzed
You know,
yourself before. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
add
just
to
got
the
like a little.
effect.
No, just dying. You know, the sweat.
Well, you really rose to the occasion. I got to applaud you, especially knowing that.
I thought I was gonna have to cancel. I was like, no, you are rallying. This is your moment. Like, you are not giving this up. It was like mom's spaghetti there. You know,
Oh
like,
my
you're
God.
not like you
Good
getting
for
on that
you.
stage. I had to do the meet and greet the next day, feeling about the same, and that was 4 hours.
God.
But luckily, like, I kept it together. Everybody, by the way, rallied for me. Like, all the people working for LSS, like all of the guests and the casters were like, once they found out I wasn't feeling good at the rehearsal, they were like, oh, hang on, I'm calling everybody I know. We're getting you like all the medications we can find over the counter. Like, we're gonna prop you up like Weekend at Bernie's, and we're gonna tap dance you if we need to. Like, you're not missing your moment, you know. So, you know, big shout out to those people. You all know who you are. Like, you took care of me, and they checked in on me all weekend. Like, people were like fawning around me like for the next day or two, just making sure, like, you okay. So it's like wonderful community.
It adds to the insanity of you recording this podcast right now after having food poisoning all weekend, doing all that, and you're a billion hours into the future.
Let me tell you, like, you know, when you have to dress like a rock star wearing like half the clothing you normally wear, and you're like, oh God, I hope I don't look bloated or whatever. When you haven't been able to eat for 3 days or even keep water down, your body looks, you know, just saying. Like, I don't suggest that diet plan. It's freaking terrible. And I've eaten like a fiend since I got home, and I'm over here like enjoying like some of my first alcohol. I'm like, yay, beer.
Holy so I mean, listen, I'll keep
going
that
to
in mind.
Ribfest this weekend. So
next time I am trying to cosplay as Pleiades, I've only done
just get food poisoning.
I should have done that. You know, I felt like I was, you know.
No, you looked great. You looked fabulous.
No, thank you. Yeah, I was a lot of work, nowhere near the amount of work that anybody else ever does. But we made it happen. Now, I do got to ask 2 more quick questions on this cosplay. First, how like conceptually different was the process of making this cosplay? Now, it's very different, like hero-wise, we know that. But like, how conceptually different was the process to making this cosplay compared to the tons that you've done in the past?
Timing and personal choice. So like, you know, when I'm getting a cosplay from LSS, whether it's something they asked me to do like this or Dio, or whether it's, you know, spoiler that they aren't saying, hey, go do this, but I want to, you know, sometimes it's not something I would have chosen for myself. But what I will say about that is, even though I wouldn't maybe have chosen Pleiades off the bat, it's not because I didn't like her or her design. It's because maybe I would have lacked the confidence. But when somebody, you know, puts my feet to the fire in a good way, you know, like, and gives me that challenge, I want to rise to it. And it gives me just such like confidence and fire inside of me to go after it. And so there's a lot more pressure on it. So I will say that, like, from the planning perspective, there's so much more pressure, not from anybody doing it to me, but from me to myself, that like, I want to make you proud. And, you know, you always know there's going to be like negativity and like haters out there and stuff that are going to say, oh, I would have picked somebody else to do this, you know, or whatever. You know, because there's always going to be those people out there, you know, the trolls. And so like, for me, it's like wanting to give them no excuse, you know, like, give them, like, I want to leave it all on the stage. You know, I want to look like I walked off the card. And so for me, it's like even more of a fire inside of me when I'm given something like this. But also having to plan so quickly means I can't do all the little Easter eggs or fun things I wanted to do. I still accomplished one here, which was making the guitar picks. So like, that wasn't an LSS thing. I made these, like, for anybody that doesn't know, I made these little, they're engraved guitar picks that have the resource logo on one side, like 2 on one on the other, and they're glittery. They're very cool. And I gave them out all weekend, as many as I could make. And so people thought LSS was running this. So they were like adding like us online and being like, and I've been getting requests and comments like, hey, how can I get more of these from LSS for like my store or whatever? I'm like, well, actually, They didn't do that. I did. It was for me, for the fans, you know. So I will be making more for my
Cool.
local pre-release, but also for Montreal. I'm gonna make like hopefully a couple hundred for Montreal. So if anybody's listening, you're going to Montreal, like come to me or send a friend, and they're first come, first serve, one per
Please.
person, but we'll try.
One for me. Save one for me, please.
You got a friend coming out there? Otherwise, I'll mail it to you.
No, I'll be there. I'll be there.
You be there? Yes,
Oh, I'll be
amazing.
there.
So yes, you're definitely gonna get one.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'll do a new colorway for that. So like we could have like special editions.
Ooh.
You know, either you get the Singapore or the Montreal edition, and
Even better.
yeah,
Awesome.
there's no screw job here. You know, I'm everybody gets something fun. But yeah, so that's the difference. It's whether I'm making something for myself and what that timeline is, and really wanting to prove myself and let them know that they chose the right person, that they can have faith in me when they come to me with something like this, that I'm not going to let them down.
Well, they say pressure makes diamonds, and obviously it was such a smash success. And to the trolls, they are reviled, and Pleiades is revered for a reason.
Yeah.
These, I don't know if there's any trolls out there, but what are they?
I believe I saw
about?
somebody put a vomit emoji on one of my pictures or something, and I was like, whatever, like
No, they just knew you had
like,
food
girl,
poisoning.
sit down, you jealous.
They were like, oh, food poisoning. Actually, here's a good question. I hope it's a good question. I wrote it, but here's a good question that I wrote. Now, I know that you kind of assumed this kind of rock club thing, didn't really know the wrestling thing, so you kind of took that creative liberty when you did the photo shoot. But were there any other creative liberties that you took with the cosplay that you kind of made like a distinct choice?
Oh yeah. So like in this case, when they gave me the art, they only gave me her adult hero art and then the picture of the weapon. So it's not like they gave me like all the different arts that she was in. And I get it. They don't want to like, get that many assets out there that could get in the wrong hands, et cetera. It could happen in theory, so I get that. But it made it a lot harder on me because I didn't have multiple reference images. So like in some cases, like for example, and I wish I had unpacked my stuff to show you on camera, but like she has a bracer on her arm that I put a lot of love into. You can't see it. She's like this in the art. She's got her hand up like, yeah, pump, fist pump. So you can't really see hardly any part of that bracer except some of the outline. And so like I had to make the whole design on the back. So I like mock it off of her costume. Like what are some things I could take out of it, some elements of the art. There's little like studs that are like starbursts on them and everything. It's really cool. And then, just some of the things like the trims and the stuff I selected was like a little different from the art, but it made it feel more real, more rock star, more like studded out, and you make little like things like that. And then I put in little Easter eggs because I always like to do that. And so her guitar strap that nobody ever sees because it's under my hair, there's like the padding part, there's like always like kind of a pad on the strap. I actually engraved the Pleiades constellation on it, and it's in silver. I like inlaid it in silver leaf, so nobody can really see it. Maybe I'll post a picture of it at some point, like some little Easter eggs on the costume. But that's one of like the little details that I like that nobody else would care or know. But
I mean, that's awesome. Hey.
Oh, and I got to play during the weekend. I made a box. You know those quiver boxes, or like the quiver bags. They're like a bag for your cards. So just specifically a card box with a strap.
Oh, yeah.
I customized it. I made like a nameplate. I'll post it at some point. And it has like a beautiful inlay. In fact, I have a scrap one here that I was working on. It looks like this. You can't see it because it doesn't have its paint on it. But I inlaid it onto the front and put stars all over, like studs on the bag. So like she has her own card bag when she goes to play people.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Little crazy things.
Hey, listen, I mean, I'm all for the creative liberties. Obviously, when I did Live a Yeehaw, I mean, that was a big. It's not like Levi at all.
I loved it though.
But Pleiades, you did a great job. Want to applaud you. I'm glad you got to come on, talk about it, and it just really is such a special thing that LSS cares about this. This art form and what it means to people and what it means for bringing these characters to life. So, they made a good choice with bringing you on to do it. And I think it was a smash hit. Now, we do have some listener questions. And the first one comes from William from the Table Pit, who asks, or first says, "You look great in your Pleiades attire in Singapore." And then, who was the photographer for those pictures? They were so well done. You mentioned them at the top, but if you want to mention them again.
Yeah. So his name is Martin, and he is a fab player out of Wisconsin. He goes by his tag that you can find him on. He's on Instagram at Oh My Breadsticks. So yeah, he is, just go check out his work, make sure to like it, subscribe to him. He does all sorts of cosplay photography, much like I think I'm the only person in Fab that he does, but all sorts like anime costumes and stuff. So really, really cool. He's ingrained like in that anime and comic community, and has some really cool art out there to check out.
Awesome. And Martin, if you're out there listening, the hallway shot is so impactful.
Yeah.
I think that one is so sick.
Dragging the guitar. Yeah, he had so many good ideas. Like when we first talked, we like decide together on locations and stuff. And I said, here's some thoughts I have. Maybe we could find something that has like a bar, or maybe we could go in an alley somewhere. Like, what can we do? And he was like, actually, like my wife has always wanted to do her own, because she's a cosplayer as well, her own photo shoot at this place, but like you have to rent them. You have to pay per hour to like rent this bar during the day. And so it's actually like a live club at night for like small live music venue. So we rented that together and kind of split the cost. And so it worked out really well. And he had already gotten there and been shooting with her during that day. So he already had ideas when I showed up. He was like, hey, like maybe we do this or that. Like, what about a down the hall shot? Like you're entering the arena, so it's pretty cool.
Very, very cool. Next question comes from Greg, aka Darth Prentice. How do you store your cosplays when they're not being worn? I want to believe you have a whole basement dedicated to mannequins wearing them, and your husband hears unsettling laughter coming from down there. Sorry, I think I'm slipping into a horror movie.
That is my dream. That is so my dream. Unfortunately, I live in a townhome on a slab foundation, so I don't have a basement. I wish I did. I wish I had like a bookcase where I could pull something and it opens up into my own bat cave or cosplay cave, but I don't. So what happens right now is I actually have a storage unit I rent for like more in the moment things I'm working on. So like cosplays that have just been finished or just been worn are usually there. My dad lives about 2.5 hours away, and he has a gigantic basement on his farm. So the rest of them go there once they're kind of like, hey, I'm probably never going to wear these again, or not for a long time. Get packed up and put away. I do have mannequins in my room, which this is covering right now because the room is a wreck and I haven't cleaned it yet. But those are more like in progress stuff. So like Viscera is actually behind me on a mannequin being repaired before I put it away. I'm trying to get better about like repairing my stuff so that when somebody does call, like if a convention calls, like I'm doing SonomaCon this fall for Joe Sapp, that I don't have to go digging and repair it 2 weeks before freaking out, like that's already like packed and beautiful. But so that's how unfortunately it gets stored. But I'd love to see them on mannequins in the future. Something I floated with Peter at MinMax, and I don't know if it'll ever come to fruition, was if you ever get a bigger store, which I think they were just talking about today,
I think they were.
would you be interested in like getting some like mannequins and putting some of like my more impressive ones on display, like the Macropotent or something that look really cool in the store? So who knows? Maybe he'll take me up on that in the future. I don't know, Peter, if you're listening. Still offer's still up, so we'll see.
I hope Peter's listening. Comment below, Peter, if you're listening.
He's gonna be like, F you.
Yeah. He'll purposely listen and then tell me at the next event I see him at. Next question comes from Sigma, who asks, should LSS give induction chamber and plasma purifier a new home?
Yes. I mean, is that even like seriously when we talked about like, what do I want next? Like when I was saying I want the mid-range back, I want like a new gun weapon. Yeah, 100%. They need a new home, which means we need a new pistol, because they work with pistol weapons. I was really hoping we'd get like a new pistol that would work with them. I don't know. Maybe pistol was something that scared them off. Maybe they don't want to make like more of them. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but like, yes, it needs a new home. Or they need a new home. They're feeling lonely right now, out in the cold. I'm hearing sad, like violin music. Seeing them sitting downstairs on the desk, like having to, by the way, put away that deck. Like, I mean, Living Legend is out there. Yes, I can play her. She's not fully taken apart or anything, but she's in the closet, and I put her away, and I'm like so sad. Like all my cold foil equipment.
She'll have her day again. I mean, she has her day as Dash.io, but she'll have, the OG Dash day again.
Let's see if they have the courage. This is me issuing a challenge to give me one-handed pistols. Gunslinger. That's what we need. We need a gunslinger. We need a Yeehaw Leviathan. Two pistols that shoot dark energy. They're like, no, Rachel is canceled.
wait. I have an idea for one-handed pistols for Dash. They cost 1 each to shoot, and they attack for 1, right?
Mhm.
They get Gogan if you pitch a zero costed card. I don't know where I'm getting this idea from. I feel like I've seen it before somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you could get pistol locked. I mean, that would be yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
It sounds familiar.
Pew pew.
Now you did kind of just answer this one, but Capolo asks, do you ever reuse cosplays, or is it a sin? If you don't reuse, do you scrap parts for new ones?
Great question. No, it is not a sin, and it's something I wish I got to do more, which is why I'm very excited. And I alluded to this, or not alluded, I just straight up said it. I talked them into sending me to Montreal. I said, like, hey guys, I just spent all this time making this for you, and they do contribute, just so you guys know, they contribute to the cost of making these costumes. Thank you very much. LSS, they sponsor some of the cost of it. And so I said, like, you put, money and effort into helping me bring these to life, let's get another bite at it. Like, do you want it to be in Montreal? So I'm going to the world premiere. They're sending me, so Pleiades will be there hanging out, and hopefully we'll see if I get to do some bounties again. Different things like that would be a lot of fun. I know people really enjoy that when I do that, sit it down at the table and say, hey, I got a special gold pack or whatever it might be, if you beat me. And we'll see where that goes. But yeah, it is not a sin to rewear a cosplay. This is not the Oscars, we're not gonna be upset about that. And in fact, I encourage people to rewear because I'm sad that I don't get opportunities to rewear them. Like Macropotent, I want to wear it again so bad, but it's not like something that I would just bring because I can't play easily in it. So it had to be like a guest where they want me to bring it. And then as far as reusing stuff, so problem is when I come back, a lot of it's damaged or gets messed up, especially the foam costumes, which is why I've been moving away from foam a bit. It gets damaged too easily or it breaks down over time.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I do cannibalize. The saddest moment for me is the fact that -IE, my first costume, does not exist anymore. It got so damaged after 5 wears that I pieced parts of it out to make the Nitromechanoid. And other parts. But what makes me happy is it creates an opportunity for the future where, at least in the next couple of years before I get too old to play Dash, I'm probably too old already, but she's a teenager.
No,
I would like to remake it and come back to my first costume and say, here's what I did when I had never cosplayed before. Here's what I can do now with my skill set to make -IE again. So I actually sent off the last piece of the costume this weekend. I went to the beach party dressed as Dio, Bikini Dio. And, I pulled that wig out of storage because it's so ratty. It was like I didn't know what I was doing at the time with wigs, and it's just messed up. And so I just wore it, and it got totally destroyed. It ended up in the trash before I left because it smelled like ocean water and grossness. But yeah, it's gone now, but not forgotten. And I really hope I get to have an opportunity down the road soon to take a little break and just remake something that's like a little spirit project for me, that's not for winning a competition or anything like that.
I mean, it would be really cool to see how you approach it, differently.
How different would I do it? Like, would it look mostly the same? Would it be different? It would be, I think, quite a bit different.
Yeah. You have definitely acquired a lot of new skills probably since then, which is cool.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of a lot of new skills, Boosting Spend Dog comes in and says, Fire cosplay in Singapore was rockin'. Yes. What got you into cosplaying? Now, I will say, if you want to know how Max got into cosplay, you can go back to episode 94 of Fresh Buds, because that was definitely covered. But if you want to give the short of it, you should definitely do it right now.
Yeah, so the short of it is that I was a huge Dash fan, the biggest simp for Dash that there is, and nobody can question that. I think back in the day, I was like, I would show up to every armory like 3 times a week in the Chicago area when that's all. Now I couldn't go to all of them. We got many more.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just play Dash all the time. And I had everything kitted out. I had all these little like tokens. It was crazy. And people were like, well, why don't you just cosplay as Dash? And I was like, you know what? I think I will. And I don't think people thought I could or that I would. And I came out of the gate swinging. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I was like, I don't care. Confidence will be faked until I make it. And we are just going to figure it out. And literally history was made. So I showed up to, Charlotte in 2022 dressed as Dash, and I never stopped.
And now you just got back from Singapore doing
what is my life? What is my life? Like, I literally wake up all the time and think that, like, what the hell is my life?
It's so cool. Now, here's actually a little listener question from myself. Do your 40-hour a week coworkers, do they know what you're doing?
So at each job that I have, like, not that I've had 3 jobs in the time I started cosplaying. I was just leaving one when I started. Um, my closest friends knew. I felt the need to hide it for a long time. And in fact, in the last week or so, since I was heading off to Singapore with this job that I've been at for about a year and is kind of like high up professional, I was hiding it. But I was at a happy hour and I was like, you know what? Let's let it all hang out. What are you doing next week? Okay, let me show you. And I was like showing some people my Instagram. And I was like, yeah, this is what I do. I have no shame in it. I think it's awesome. And, like people think it's cool. And if they don't, that's like their loss,
No.
So I was literally showing a coworker today who came over, was like, hey, how was Singapore? And he didn't really know what I was into. And I showed him, I was like, well, actually, this is what I was doing. And he was like, whoa, that's crazy. It was like the picture of me on the stage with James. He's like, what are you on stage for? It looks like a really big stage. Like, how many people are there? Like,
Oh man. I mean,
crazy.
listen, you should be proud of it and they should be stoked for you as well. Very, very cool. Now, this was another cracking episode with you, Max. Always love having you on, chatting with you. You've been incredible. I love seeing the work that you do and for you to come on and talk about it. Can you please plug anything you'd like to plug? And thank you again.
Well, first of all, I want to plug you making another cosplay. So, I need you to commit to that at
no.
some point. Yeah.
No.
The Hall of Io was like amazing. So we needed something more like that. We need some more fun cosplays. Plug wise, like I think most people by now, like if you've seen me around, you know that I go by Max Ferocity, more so than my real name ever. And I'm Max Ferocity on every social that you could probably think of. So that's how you can find me. But there's nothing really to plug there for myself. But what I would like to plug is that if you do find yourself at a tier 4 type event that has a cosplay competition and you have a free minute during the cosplay competition, get out there and support your cosplayers, give them some applause, come check it out. It's a super fun show. There are a lot of amazing people in our cosplay community that put in just tons and tons of hours, effort, and love. And, they deserve your applause. So get out there and check them out next time you're there.
Awesome. I mean, it is, as somebody who tried to do a cosplay, it is so impressive what people can pull off. It is, but it's also a lot of fun to like really just see it come to life. So that's a great plug right there. You can all continue to find me on Blue Sky mostly at freshbudspod. Check out the YouTube and the Spotify and give it the old like, comment, subscribe. Bud's Discord in the show notes below. Fresh Juice, an indie game podcast I do with my cousin, also weekly, should be in the show notes as well. And finally, I like to talk about food at the end of every episode.
Every
now,
time.
I know that you had food poisoning. So, what were you looking forward to eating? I guess when you got home.
Yeah. So while I was there, I did still eat like lots of good things. And I can't say for sure it was food poisoning. It might have been the water at Universal, like splashing on me on a ride or something, So maybe that was it. Maybe it was just like some still water grossness. But I ate a lot before that. And even after I recovered, like I just pigged out on my like last day or so. And so I would say if you're in Singapore, first of all, you have to go to like one of those marketplace hawker stand type places or just tons of different vendors and delicious foods from all over, like, Asia Pacific, Southeast Asia region. I did get to try some local dishes and stuff early on, like different curries, like Indonesian foods, Malay foods, and just fantastic, like a lot of things with coconut bases and stuff that I love personally. Yeah. So definitely like just if you love curries, if you like Southeast Asian, if you like even Indian food and stuff, they've got just some of the best out there all around. Like I did not have a bad is relative. If I got sick, I don't think it was the food. I seriously can't believe it was the food. I don't think it was the food. The food quality is so high, so high out there. It's probably cleaner than here. Definitely cleaner than here. So I would just say like, yeah, make sure you get out to like one of those marketplace areas, like just where the locals go, because you're just going to be inundated with just the most delicious smells and you're just going to follow your nose to whatever looks good.
Oh, awesome. Sounds great. I wish I was there next time, I think. But,
yeah,
sure. All those smells, I think right now are telling me that we don't have time for Charmer, but I think that we'll probably get
pour
to
one out for Charmer.
But thank you, Max. Thank you, everybody. Everybody, please stay